Okay, so the topic which we're going to take today is chromosomes and phenotype, which I already started in the last lesson. So let me first recap the contents we covered already. We are on page number 188 from your textbook. Okay, so we have this particular verse which is related to chromosomes and phenotype. This verse, it states that has there not been over man a long period of time when he was nothing, not even mentioned. Verily we created man from a drop of mingled sperm in order to try him, so we gave him the gifts of hearing and sight. Subhanallah. So in this verse, Allah states that he created man for a purpose, okay, and also there is the information about the human chromosome number in according to this ayah. The adult human cell, it contains 23 pairs of 46 chromosomes. The sperms and ovum contain 23 haploid chromosomes. So all this information was already mentioned in the Quran, which was revealed about 1400 years ago. Subhanallah. Though the scientists were able to discover this recently in the 20th century. Okay, so we need to reflect on all these verses, subhanAllah. And objectives for this topic are to compare how phenotypes affect the genotype, to relate dominant recessive patterns of inheritance in autosomal chromosomes to genetic disorders, and to study the disorders caused by dominant and recessive alleles. Okay. So let's move on and discuss about this topic. The key concept for this topic is the chromosomes on which genes are located. They can affect the expression of the traits, meaning the traits which you have, be it physical or the characteristic traits, those are inherited by your parents. You inherit them from your parents, and also the chromosomes on which the genes are located, they are responsible for the expression of your traits. We discussed already that 2 copies of each autosomal gene, it affects the phenotype. Okay, about 99.9% of everyone's DNA is identical. But look around you and you will see a huge variety of traits such as hair color, texture, eye color, shape, height, weight, etc. So Mendel's peas are a good place to start learning about genetics. We already studied about the various experiments conducted by Mendel on the pea plants. In your grade 11, we discussed about it, right? We discussed about how Mendel studied the various characteristics of the pea, how he did a cross-fertilization, and he was able to produce hybrid varieties and different varieties of peas, right? Similarly, we are going to study about that in the humans, about the various genotypes and phenotypes. But the great variety in living things is not just a result of dominant and recessive alleles. There are many complexities of genetic inheritance. Mendel studied autosomal gene traits like hair, texture. Okay, so Mendel, after he did experiments on peas, he also studied about the gene traits in humans, about the hair structure, hair texture, and many other features. Okay, so recall that autosomes are all of an organism's chromosomes except the sex chromosomes. Okay, so from the 46 chromosomes which are present in the human body, 22 pairs, that is 44, are the autosomes, and the extra pair of chromosomes, they are the sex chromosomes, meaning the X and Y chromosomes which are present. So if you see in females, you can see only XX chromosomes are present, whereas in males there is an X and a Y chromosome. Okay, so sexually reproducing organisms, they have 2 of each chromosome, one from the mother and one from the father. The 2 chromosomes, they have the same genes but may have different alleles. So depending upon these alleles, whichever allele is dominant, that particular character you get. Okay, for example, if you're talking about a hair color, if your mother, she has black hair color, and if your father, he has brown hair color. So from this gene of hair color, whichever allele is dominant, so if you have your father's allele dominant, you will get your father's brown hair color, and if your mother's allele is dominant, you will get the black hair color. Okay, so different alleles, they can produce different phenotypes, and most traits, they are the result of genes on the autosomes. Okay, so not only the sex chromosomes, because sex chromosomes are only responsible for your sex. For all your other physical and characteristic traits or the features, the autosomes are responsible. Okay, so many human genetic disorders are also caused by autosomal genes. The chance that a person will have one of these disorders can be predicted, just as we predicted the phenotypes of Mendel's piece. Now, according to Mendel's rules of inheritance, they apply to autosomal genetic disorders. A heterozygote for a recessive disorder is a carrier, and disorders that are caused by dominant alleles are uncommon. Okay, so let's talk about the disorders which are caused by the recessive alleles. Okay, so we have this information in your textbook on page number 189. So 2 copies of the allele, they must be present for a person to have a disorder caused by the recessive alleles. Okay, so if you have 2 copies, one from your mother and one from your father of this particular allele, only then you will get this disorder. Okay, so someone who is homozygous for the recessive allele will have this disorder, and someone who is heterozygous does not have this disorder. Okay, that means you need to have 2 copies of the same allele for you to get this disorder from your parents. So a carrier is someone who does not have a disorder but carries the recessive allele and therefore can pass the allele on to the offspring. That means if you are homozygous, you will have this disorder, and if you are heterozygous, you will become a carrier. Carrier meaning though you don't have the disorder, you still have that particular allele in your body that you can pass on to your offsprings. Okay, so if both the parents are heterozygotes, neither will have the disorder, but they can still have children with the disorder, meaning they can still be the carriers for this disease and carry this disease or disorder further to their offsprings. Okay, so this is about the disorders caused by the recessive alleles. Now let's discuss about the disorders caused by dominant alleles. Now, dominant genetic disorders are less common than recessive disorders. Because the disorder is caused by a dominant allele, there is a 50% chance that the child will have it, even if only one parent has one of the alleles. Okay, so if only one parent has this allele, then there is a 50% chance of you getting this particular disorder. Okay, and if both the parents are heterozygous for a dominant disorder, they both have symptoms of the disorder, and there is a 75% chance that a child will inherit this disorder. If neither the parents, neither the mother nor the father has this disorder, but they are the carriers for this disorder, then there is a 75% chance of the offspring getting this disorder. Okay, so basically the disorders which are caused by these dominant alleles, they are much less compared to the disorders which are caused by the recessive alleles. Okay, so let's move on and discuss about the males and females. They can differ in sex-linked traits. Okay, so far we have examined the expression of autosomal genes. The expression of genes on sex chromosomes is the X and Y chromosomes. It is different. Okay, so if you have any disorder which is not related to sex, then you will get it because of the autosomes which are not the sex chromosomes. Okay, but if it is any sex-linked trait or if it is a sex-linked disorder, you are susceptible to get it because of your sex chromosomes, which is the X and Y chromosomes which are present in your body. Okay, recall that for humans and other mammals, females they have an XX genotype and males they have an XY genotype. As I told you already, females they only have X chromosomes, so the genotype in females is XX, and in males it is XY. So if an X from a mother and an X from a father, they come together to form a girl, and X from a mother and Y from a father, they combine together to form a boy. Okay, meaning the females, they only have X chromosomes, but males, they have both X and Y sex chromosomes. Okay, so a female, it can pass on only an X chromosome to the offspring. A male can pass on either X or Y chromosome to the offspring. Okay, so in humans and many other organisms, the Y chromosome is smaller and has many fewer genes than the X chromosome. In addition, the sex determination genes on the X chromosome, they affect many traits. Genes on the sex chromosomes are called the sex-linked genes. Okay, so these genes which are present on the sex chromosomes in XX in female and XY in the male, they are known as the sex-linked genes. They determine an offspring's sex. So when people talk about sex-linked genes, they are usually talking about the genes on the X chromosome. Get it, girls? Girls, is it clear so far? Are you following me? So let's talk about what are these sex-linked genes. The males and females, they can differ in the sex-linked genes, meaning, as I explained already, genes on sex chromosomes are called sex-linked genes. As you can see in this picture, the female parent, she has X and X chromosomes, whereas the male parent, he has X and Y. So whenever the X and X come together, it is a female, and whenever the X of a female, it comes together with Y of a male, it is a male or a boy, which is XY. Okay, so Y chromosome genes in mammals are responsible for male characteristics, and X chromosome genes in mammals affect many traits. The expression of sex-linked genes in males. Let's talk about this first. Before that, I also discussed about the Huntington's disease the other day, right? It is about the did I discuss about it, girls? George Huntington, an American physician, first documented Huntington disease in 1872. At that time, he called it Huntington chorea. This name was taken from the Greek word chorea, meaning dance. So individuals with Huntington's disease often had involuntary erratic movements suggestive of a dance. So after 1963, the disorder, it became known as Huntington's disease in order to represent all forms of the disorder. Okay, the dominant allele that causes Huntington's disease was brought to United States in 1630 by three men whose families had been persecuted for witchcraft in England because of their strange behavior and mental disturbances. At that time, these symptoms were believed to be caused by consorting with the devil. Later, they came to know that such a type of behavior was because of a disease known as Huntington's disease, in which the person, he had an very erratic movement suggestive of a dance, and the person, he used to have very different kind of talking and walking. Okay, so let's now discuss about the expression of sex-linked genes in males. So recall that when there are two copies of an allele, the expression of a recessive allele, it can be masked or covered up by the expression of a dominant allele. So whichever is the expression of dominant allele, you can see that particular characteristic as dominant. Okay, so for an XY male, there is only one copy of each gene on the Y chromosome. Likewise, there is only one copy of each gene on the X chromosome. So these genes which are present on the X and Y chromosomes, they are known as the sex-linked genes. So there are no second copies of the alleles. This means that any recessive allele on the X or Y chromosomes will be expressed in the males. Okay, so the expression of sex-linked genes in males, it is expressed with the help of the genes which are present on the Y chromosome or the combination of X and Y chromosome. This means that any recessive allele on the X or Y chromosomes will be expressed in the males. an XY genotype. All of a male's sex-linked genes are expressed, and males that have no second copies of sex-linked genes. There is only one copy of the sex-linked genes. Now, coming on to the expression of sex-linked genes in females. All of the body cells in a female, they have two X chromosomes. Okay. But each cell, it uses only one of the two X chromosomes. The other X chromosome, it gets turned off. Which of the two X chromosomes remain active and which gets turned off is random. Okay, so as you know, in female, the combination of the chromosomes is X and X. So out of these two X chromosomes, any one chromosome is used and the other is turned off. So which of these two chromosomes, X chromosomes, remains active and which gets turned off? It is random. There is no particular rule. Whichever one of the X chromosome can be used and the other can be turned off randomly. Okay. In other words, some cells, they use one X chromosome and the other cells, they use the other X chromosome. So X chromosome inactivation is the process by which one of the two X chromosomes in every cell in female mammals, it gets turned off. Okay, so any one of these two X chromosomes is used in the body. For example, the female mammals, and the other chromosome, it is turned off. Even though only one of these two alleles is expressed in each cell, overall, both alleles for each gene on the X chromosome, they affect a female's phenotype. Okay, girls? Girls, is it clear so far? Any questions? Girls?
It's clear. No, Mrs. Clear.
Okay, thank you so much. We have 20 attendees. Let me download the attendance, girls. If you have any questions, please do ask me so far. Shall we move on? Is it clear so far? Okay. So you can see the picture of the cats on your screen here. The female, these are all the female calico cats. Okay, they have two X chromosomes with different alleles for fur color. Okay, can you see the differences in their fur color, girls? Can you see how the fur color is different, and can you see this particular cat? It has the same type of this eye, which is masked like the mother. Okay, so these female calico cats, they have two X chromosomes with different alleles for the fur color. Both alleles are expressed in a random pattern, as you can see. The male cat has only one X chromosome and its allele for the fur color is expressed across the entire body. Okay, so you can see the male, it is X and Y. And the female, you can see it is XO and XO. So you can see the various combinations of the cats over here. This particular cat, it is a male but an XO and Y. And this one, it is a female XO, XO. And this one is a female again XO and XO. So you can see the various combinations of the fur in all these three offsprings, which have a combination of the fur color of both mother and father. Okay, so expression of sex-linked genes is similar to autosomal genes in females. An X chromosome inactivation randomly turns off one X chromosome. So this is about the topic, girls. So I just spoke about the picture which is on your page number 191. In mammals, the expression of sex-linked genes in females is also different from the way in which genes on other chromosomes are expressed. In each cell of female mammals, one of the two X chromosomes is randomly turned off by a process called X chromosome inactivation. Because of X chromosome inactivation, females are a patchwork of two types of cells. One type with an active X chromosome that comes from the mother, and a second type with an active X chromosome that came from the father. Okay, so colorful examples of X chromosome inactivation are seen in female tortoiseshell cats and female calico cats, as you can see in this picture. The female calico cats shown in the figure, they have white fur as well as black or orange fur on them, X chromosomes. On their X chromosome. So those alleles are expressed randomly in cells across the cat's body. As a result, its coat is a mixture of color splotches. It is truly a patchwork of cells because male calico cats only have one X chromosome and they have white fur and one sex-linked gene for either orange or black fur. So this is the reason for the various combinations of furs which you can see in this calico cats. It is because of the one X chromosome which has been turned off, and you can see the different combinations of the male and the female fur in the offspring cats here. I hope it is clear, girls. Let me ask you a quick question. Why are males more likely than females to have sex-linked genes disorders? I repeat the question. Why are males more likely than females to have sex-linked genetic disorders? The answer is because all sex-linked genes, even recessive alleles, are expressed in males, but not in females. Okay, so that is the reason why males are more likely than females to have a sex-linked genetic disorder. Okay, girls. Let me give you one more interesting information. I'm sorry. The human X chromosome, it carries more than 1,000 known genes. The human Y chromosome was once thought to hold only a few genes, but it is now known to hold many more. Estimates vary on the number of genes on the Y chromosome, ranging from about 70 to almost 400. Of the known 78 genes, 27 are shared with the X chromosome. So the X and Y chromosomes are thought to have been the same size at one time, and scientists, they have calculated that the Y chromosome has lost an average of 5 genes every million years. So this is the latest discovery about the Y chromosome. Okay, so with this we are done with this topic. If you have any doubts, you may ask me, or else we can go ahead and solve the worksheet for this topic. Any doubts, girls? Shall we solve the worksheet then? Hello? Okay, so please take out your worksheet 8 for chapter 7.1, which is chromosomes and phenotype. You have it on your teams. So let's go ahead and solve this worksheet. Give me a moment, please. Okay. So question number 1, fill in the blanks. Sex chromosomes, they determine an organism's dash. What do they determine, the sex chromosomes? Girls? What do the sex chromosome determine? They obviously determine the sex of an organism. Okay, so the answer is sex chromosomes, they determine the organism's sex. And all other chromosomes which do not directly affect an organism's sex are called, what are they called, girls? They are called autosomes. Okay, as I told you, there are 22 pairs of autosomes which do not directly affect an organism's sex, and there are 1 pair of sex chromosomes which are responsible for the sex of an organism. Number 2, a person who is a carrier differs from a person who has a genetic disorder. So a carrier does or does not show symptoms of a disorder. Does the carrier show any symptoms of the disorder, girls? No, he does not show any symptoms because he does not have the disease or the disorder. He will have the symptoms only if he has a disorder. So a carrier is a person who is carrying this disorder. He does not have it himself, but he can carry it to his offsprings. Okay, so the answer is does not, and show symptoms of a disorder but can pass the disorder to the offspring. So that is why he is given the term carrier, because he is carrying this disorder further to his offsprings. Number 3, compare the two Punnett squares below to compare autosomal recessive disorders with autosomal dominant disorders. So fill in the possible genotypes for offsprings and write in the phenotype no disorder, carrier or disorder for each. Okay, so you have these two boxes here which says autosomal recessive and autosomal dominant. Okay, so in the autosomal recessive, we will first look at this combination, which is capital D and small d, DD. Okay, that is D from the mother and D from the father. So when you have both of them, D and D, for the autosomal recessive, that means a disorder or no disorder. That means there is no disorder because all these two, they are recessive. Okay, now moving on to the next combination, which is this D and small d, that is a capital D and small d. Now what does this combination mean? It means he is a carrier of this disorder. The person, he does not have this disorder, but he can carry it to the offspring. Even this would be the same combination, small d and again capital D here. He is also a carrier of this disorder. Okay, so you will write it like this. Then again, you see this both the recessive combinations here, which is small d and small d. What does that mean? Small d and small d, girls? Sorry, just small d and small d. Okay, that means both are recessive. Means the person has the disorder or no? That means the person has the disorder. Okay, that means if the person has two recessive alleles, he has the disorder. If he has two dominant alleles, he does not have this disorder. And if he has a dominant and a recessive allele, that means the person is a carrier for this particular disorder. Okay, so this is what happens in the autosomal recessive. Now let's talk about the possible genotypes for offspring for a autosomal dominant. Okay, so if it is an autosomal dominant, the capital D and capital D means there is a disorder. Okay, the person, he will get a disorder if he has both of these dominant alleles. Okay, then the next combination is capital D and small d. What does this denote? Even this denotes that the person has the disorder. Okay, though he has one dominant and one recessive allele, even then the person has this disorder in autosomal dominant. Okay, then again the same combination of small d and capital D, that also means the person will have the disorder. Okay, and the last combination is two recessive alleles, which is two small d's, that means the person will not have the disorder or no disorder. Okay, girls, so this is the possible genotypes in an autosomal dominant. You can clearly see the difference between the autosomal recessive and autosomal dominant. In autosomal recessive, if there are two recessive genes, only then the person will have a disorder. If he has one dominant and one recessive, he is a carrier. If there are two dominant, then there is no disorder. Whereas coming to the autosomal dominant, again, if he has two dominant, he will have the disorder. Even if he has one dominant, he will have the disorder. And if there is one dominant and one recessive, if there is both the recessive, then there is no disorder, as you can see in this picture. Okay, girls, so these are the answers for the various combinations for question number 3. I hope it's clear. Girls, are you following me? Hello?
Yes.
Are you with me? Are you following, girls?
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
I'm asking the questions and I'm only answering the questions. I hope it's clear for you. Okay, so the next question, number 4, is sex-linked genes are located on. Where are they located, the sex-linked genes, girls? Obviously, they are located on the sex chromosomes, right? The sex-linked genes, you will find them on the sex chromosomes, nowhere else. Whereas the other genes, you will find them on the autosomes. Okay, so the answer is the sex chromosomes. Okay, moving on to number 5. Fill in the Punnett square below to show the pattern of inheritance for sex chromosomes. Write in phenotype male or female for each. So you know this combination of the sex chromosome inheritance. As I told you many times, a combination of X and X is a female. The combination of X and X over here is also a female. The combination of X and Y here is a male. And the combination of X and Y over here is a male, as I told you. Okay, so in this, let me show you again. X from mother and X from fathers. This is the chromosomes present in the mother, X and X, and these are the chromosomes present in the father, X and Y. Okay, so when X combines with X of a father combines with X of a mother, then it is XX, which is a female, right? Then again, you can see in the next Punnett square, X from a father combines with the X with the mother, which is of course a female again. When you come down, Y from a father, it combines with X of a mother. Obviously, then it is a male, X and Y. Over here again, Y from a father, it combines with X of a mother, which is a male again. Okay, so this is the combination of the sex chromosomes of mother and father. If it is XX, it is a female. If it is XY, it is a male. Now moving on to number 6, circle the word or phrase that best completes the statement. Number 6, in humans, a gamete from a male determines the sex of the offspring because a male can pass on only X or only Y or either X or Y chromosomes. What can a male pass on? We just did this in this square here. A male can pass on either X or Y chromosomes because he has both. In contrast, a female can pass only X, only Y or either X or Y chromosomes. A female can pass only X chromosomes. And a male can pass either X or Y. Now moving on to question number 7. The genes on the Y chromosome are responsible for male or female characteristics because Y chromosome, it is present only in male. So the genes on Y chromosomes, they are responsible for male characteristics. Whereas the genes on the X chromosomes, they are responsible for both male and female characteristics. Okay. Moving on to number 8. Place a check mark in the appropriate boxes to show how sex-linked genes are expressed in the phenotypes of males and females. So number 1, show phenotypes from all sex-linked genes. Is it males or females? It shows phenotypes from all sex-linked genes. The answer is males for this question. I will put it as males. Okay, now show phenotypes similarly to autosomal gene expression. Is it males or females? The answer is females. Okay, so these are the answers. Now moving on to number 9, the verb carry means to transport. This meaning is related to the term carrier in genetics because a carrier is a person who transports a disease-causing allele to the offspring or to the parents. Obviously to the offsprings. A carrier, he can carry the disorder to the offsprings. Number 10, with X chromosome inactivation, which occurs in males or females, where does it occur? it occurs in females, the X chromosome inactivation, X chromosome in females, and one of the two X chromosomes in every cell is randomly turned off or turned up. It is randomly turned off, as we just now studied in this topic. Okay, so these are the answers for the worksheet, sweeties. I am going to save it. You can find these saved answers in the worksheet, which is uploaded on Teams. Okay, so how much time is left? Let's quickly also solve the MCQ worksheet for this topic. Okay, so this is the MCQ worksheet, I believe. Yeah, chromosomes and phenotype. Let's quickly do it. Number one, most of the traits expressed in a person's phenotype are determined by most of the traits expressed in a person's phenotype. They are determined by A, Y chromosomes, B, X chromosome inactivation, C, autosomal genes, or D, sex chromosomes. I'm talking about the traits expressed in a person's phenotype. That means C, autosomal genes. If it is genotype, then that would be the sex genes. Okay. Number two, which of the following phrases is true of X chromosome inactivation? Is it A, it affects fewer genes than Y chromosome expression? Is it B, it occurs in cells of female mammals? Or C, disables some chromosomes in cells of male mammals? Or D, determines phenotype in male mammals? What is the answer? The answer is B, it occurs in cells of female mammals, because this inactivation, X chromosome inactivation, it occurs only in females. So B is the answer. Moving on to number three, a person who is heterozygous for a disorder caused by recessive alleles is a carrier of the disorder. So a carrier is a person who does not have the disorder but can pass it on to his offsprings, can develop the disorder later in life but cannot pass it on, has a dominant normal allele or that has been inactivated, or passes the disorder to offspring on the Y chromosomes only. What is the answer? He is a person who does not have the disorder, but he can carry this disorder to his offsprings. Number four, genes that are located on sex chromosomes are called, what are they called? We did this question already, even in the fill in the blanks. Obviously, they are called sex-linked genes, genes that are present on the sex chromosome. Number five, which statement is true of a sex-linked recessive gene? Is it in an XY male, this recessive gene is always expressed? In an XY male, one copy is always inactivated. In an XX female, only one copy is needed for expression. Or in an XX female, it is always passed on to offspring. We are talking about a sex-linked recessive gene. So in an XY male, this recessive gene is always expressed. Okay, so this is the answer, girls. I should also upload the MCQ worksheet on the Teams for you to revise. Okay, sweeties, so with this we are done with this topic. Inshallah, in the next class we shall start our next topic. Any doubts, girls? Any doubts so far?
Thank you.
Okay, you're most welcome, sweeties. You have a great day ahead. Let me download the attendance once again. Okay, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.